Whenever we cast a glance on the lives of the people around us, we clearly notice a sort of disaffection in their eyes, and generally, we associate this disaffection with the hardships and struggles of their lives. Cause: definitely none of us is possible to have a life that is free from obstacles and difficulties, and certainly, this dissatisfaction is the reflection of our complaints and difficulties of life. There is nothing wrong about that fact, but it's just a superficial cause of that. With a very simple example, we can understand this theory. If we try to break any element of this world, it will be broken into many small parts, and the same further process may get us more concentrated or grinded form of that element. If we take that element into a lab and scrutinize it, we would be able to see the molecules of this element with the help of a microscope, and, now going forward, we would see atoms as the smaller part of the molecules, and thereafter we get to know that these atoms are made of proton, neutron and electron, and as the deepest side, scientists opine that everything is composed of energy. So, overall, here we mean to say that, in the way, claiming that an element is just made of small pieces cannot be called as the deepest or the fundamental meaning. Likewise, the predicaments or the complaints of life are not the fundamental cause of the disaffection that we see as the countenance of a person, but is just a cursory reason. If you ask many people a question, that what is the stage in their lives that one day they want to see themselves on, or it even can be asked in another way, as, what is the ultimate thing that they want to get in their lives, then, the answers that you are most likely to get from them are possible to be like these. You would find them saying that they want to be successful in their lives, or else they want to spend a peaceful or a happy life, or possibly some of them may say that they want to spend their life with their favorable partner or person, or some of them, who are philanthropists, may give their answer as, the object of their life is to help the needy people or the society. And to be honest, none of these answers can be claimed as right or wrong in itself. Cause, since childhood, in the way we see people struggling and hankering after worldly desires, it's not strange that one day we find ourselves being the part of the same quest, but it's worth mention here that this quest can't take us to the deep attainment of life what we humans are actually seeking for. And that deep thing that I am going to mention may sound a bit spiritual to know, and even may sound possibly irrelevant to our real life, but it is nothing like that. Deepest inside the real quest of a human is to be connected to its percipience, or the source with which his existence is associated. The turbulence or the incompletion that we feel in our life, we can't overcome it unless accomplishing the journey of knowing the self-existence, no matter how hard we try finding it in the outside world. But here, it doesn't signify that living a life with worldly desires is unjustifiable. Cause nothing here can be claimed as right or wrong. One thing which is right according to the one may be absolutely futile for someone else. It is none but just you who has a right to determine right or wrong in your life. Only you can decide whether the direction of your life should be inwards or outwards. The reason of the direction of our life being outwards is that, the world that we live in, we seem to get everything from outside, and any possibility to get something apart from this outside world is generally not conceived by us, and it is very much obvious as well. Cause, the thing that we have never seen, never known, there seems to be no authenticity of the existence of that thing. Every one of us tries to live in the outside world as best as possible. Cause at least we all seem to have a proper acquaintance with the outside world we live in, and that's why we hanker after two sorts of things in our life. First are those what can get us pleasure or happiness in our present moment, and another one is what can make our future secure against any perilous and indefinite conditions of life, and as a result, we take money as a resort that could be helpful in both ways. and that's why money has become the most sought-after thing of human life. Have you ever thought that what is possibly one of the biggest misfortunes of human life? Well, you may or may not have thought about that, but that misfortune is that the most beautiful part of our life is our childhood, and youth is exhausted in order to develop the abilities what we assume as vital to secure our so-called future. And ironically, when we start getting those things in our life what we always thrived for, then please, don't assume that only those people feel an incompletion who unfortunately don't get their desired things in their lives. But even those who get their desired things also feel a sort of incompletion, though it may not be materialistic incompletion, but it is certainly something else. And that something, what we actually feel incomplete without, is the quest of self, and which is in no way associated with anything that we could get from outside world. Unless a person successfully reaches to the depth of self, and gets to know his immense abilities, and the divinity of being born as a human, he is impossible to satiate himself. Those moments of our life, when we get a momentary glimpse of that divine stage of this life, are those moments when we are detached from this outside world. It could be a stage of being asleep, or even the stage of being in deep meditation. The fundamental difference between sleep and deep meditation is that, being asleep we are not conscious about our being, whereas being in deep meditation, we are conscious about things and our being. Deep meditation is one of the finest ways that people have been resorting to attain self-realization. Our five senses are the doors that connect us with the outside world, and what all we get from outside world, we can feel just by those five senses, but the path that goes to self-realization doesn't go through any of these five senses, but in fact it goes having all these five senses closed. It takes a human within self, and whoever wants to know about oneself needs to pursue a journey inwards. Acharya Rajneesh, popularly known as Osho, called human being as a state of being situated at the middle. He opined that a state wherein a human has both kind of prospects. He expounded that there is a stage below humans that belongs to the creatures that live just for their survival, and he said that there is another stage which is over the level of an ordinary human, and it belongs to those who have transcended the ordinary life and subdued their five senses, that means, where there is no worldly desires left. He clearly expounded that what all turbulence or incompletion we feel in our lives is by dint of being at that middle stage, where both of the stages as the upper one and the lower one attract us. The world, and especially the society where our life as a human is spent, all kind of desires attract us towards the lower stage, and the prospect within us, that belongs to attain self-realization and supremacy, attracts us towards the higher stage, as every existence deserves to attain the supremacy. And the difference and struggle between these two totally different stages create a turbulence and dissatisfaction, cause. On one hand, it never seems easy to renounce the outside world, and on the other, the journey towards the inside world is outrightly new and unacquainted for everyone. The energy of life keeps flowing downwards, which needs to be uplifted if one has to move on the path of self-realization, cause. The upliftment of energy is vital if one wants to move towards the path to attain self-realization. And without being connected to the deepest source of self, one cannot be satiated in true sense.